Hi, this is Coffee Brown, and my channel is Coffee Spills the Tea. This is a channel that I've set up for people like me, and primarily I'm talking to Black women. Um, we are the ones that are the nurturers. We tend to work very hard, and we are tired. We're just tired a lot, and there's a time it gets to the point where sometimes you just feel like you could use a break, or maybe you need a little bit of self-care, or you just need a little bit of a mental like slowdown. And so that's what this channel is about. In today's channel, we're going to be talking about um, Job Corps. Like what happens, or if you are just like someone that's like, you know what, I need a job. What can you do? Now, look, nowadays, there's a lot of reports that are coming out that are saying that AI is going to take your job. And I am training in AI right now, and they're always telling us to make sure that we express that AI is not going to take your job. That AI is a tool that you can use to help you to enhance your job. Here's what I tell people at the end of the day, AI is going to take your job. It is. And there's no bones about it. I think a lot of jobs are going to simply go away. And I don't think that the companies, the people who own these companies, I don't think they particularly care, because they're people who care about wealth. And so, I think there's going to be a huge disparity. There's going to be people who are at the top, who are owning the companies, or they're like owning parts of the company, or they're running the company. And then there's going to be people at everyone else who's going to be the people at the bottom. And this disparity between like upper class and let's just say lower class is going to be it's going to be pretty like not great. There are some fields that I think are going to be a little bit more AI proof, but I think it's just a matter of time before even they figure out how to get those jobs going. Because as right now, it's about AI, and then it's going to be about augmented AI, and augmented AI is really all about getting a computer to basically be human. And so to like think like a human, be like a human. Because the one thing about AI is that it can't like anticipate. It can do all the algorithms in the world, and it make all the predictions in the world, because that's what AI is about. It's taking all this data and inputting all this data, and all these models are being trained off of these data sets by people who will say, I want it trained like this. And they will train the heck out of these models so that then they can go in and do all this predictive analytics, and they can predict, like if you're typing an email, you ever notice when you type an email, it's gonna like suggest what the words are, and you can just hit tab, and then like the entire sentence is out, right? But it's only predicting. The thing is, it still can't be as good as a human, because there are always going to be unexpected things that occur. So you don't know what's going to happen out there for real, for real. And so like life isn't a bunch of analytics. Like we aren't like walking around analytically calculating like what's going to happen in the next minute, or the next 5 minutes, or the next hour, or the next day. We have a pretty good idea, but if something happens, like if the NOAA, or what is it? The NOAA, the National Oceanic Atmospheric whatever, like says, hey, there's a fireball that's coming out of the sky, and you got 30 minutes to leave the area. Boom, I'm out. A computer is gonna be like trying to like it's they could like do all kinds of analytics and algorithms and try to figure out what's the likelihood that it's going to hit this area and this area and this area. I'm just out. Okay. So computers can't make those like complex like decisions. They can't make sudden decisions. Like if we go one way and we say, okay, we're going to do this and we input into the computer, it's going to go that we're going to do this. And then we go totally opposite. They, it can't, I mean, it can predict, but if we then 180 and do something totally different, like it's just going to have to start repredicting all over again. And so it makes AI inferior. At some point, it is going to get to the point where we have augmented AI, augmented generative AI, where it's going to be able to think as good as humans. And it's just a matter of time because data is king and there's massive amounts of data that's being out there. So I figure that we have, because AI is still very new, and I think we have about 3 to 5 years to amass whatever we can in terms of wealth and establish ourselves in whatever field that we're in so that we can have some kind of control over what's going to happen with our futures. And so when you are thinking about like, what am I going to do? Because I want to have a job, I want to AI proof myself as much as possible. These are the kinds of things you want to think about as well. Now, part of the reason why I'm doing this video is because I saw that they said oh, we're going to get rid of Job Corps. And they just kind of like just said like as of I think like June like 10th or something like that. Like the administration was going to shut down Job Corps. And then somebody ran to court, I think in Texas, and said, no, 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 no. And the judge is like, no, no, no. You can't just shut down Job Corps. Like, you just can't. So there's a temporary injunction on shutting down Job Corps. But a lot of these youth were so upset because they were literally like in the middle classes and they were told when they showed up the next day, like, hey, we're going to be closing in like a day or two. What are you going to do? Well, I've got a few things here. It's not just for youth, but it's also for like adults in general. And I want to just kind of walk you through some things that you can do where you can get a little bit of training and go a long way. And some of these things, if you look at an earlier video I did, I talked about these things, but I want to spend a little bit of time just making sure that we've got some other options and that you have some options. Look at my earlier video when I talked about, hey, do you want to get like bump yourself up to a higher salary? Do these things, these easy trainings that you can do in order to like show that you have these additional skills and now your job skills are more coveted. You can go for a raise or a bonus or for a better job. Go back and look for that video. But in today's video, which I'm just going to fess up, today is the 12th, but I'm going to release this on Friday the 13th as well. So I'm releasing this on Friday the 13th. So you're going to see this on Friday the 13th, which is an unlucky day. I realize it. But at the same time, I think, they're going to give us this video a little bit of time to marinate before I release it. Okay. So the first job that I really have been like interested in talking about is becoming a notary public. Now, there are notaries, there are like notary jobs that are out there, and I just wanted to pull this one up because like here in the state of North Carolina, you can make almost $59,000 a year being a notary. Okay, so like you'll have to look up on your state because I believe each state is going to have a different requirement on like how you become a notary, but they will give you the information. But look here, here's what it is. Becoming a notary, an online notary. This is specifically an online, so you can do this from home. You can work remotely. And if you are an online notary and you can get the ability to do digital signatures, even better, because you can look and see if you can work for like a law firm or a real estate agency where they need like people to do digital signatures for closings and for titles and things like that. Law firms that may need and like to create documents, and they may need like someone to be a notary or a witness, like for a will or something along those lines. So online notary jobs involves verifying and witnessing documents electronically, typically using video conferencing and digital seals. And it says remote notaries work remotely, ensuring signers understand their obligations and properly complete documents, verifying identities and applying their digital seal and signatures securely. So each state is going to have requirements, and you're going to make sure you meet the requirements to become a traditional notary in the state. And then you're going to apply to your state secretary of state or relevant agency to become a remote online notary. Okay, they may have some specific training and exams for competency for electronic notarization, and some of them do, because if you're going to work for, I think it's for like a law firm or like closings, they may want you to have a little bit of a higher level of knowledge. Doesn't mean you even have to be a paralegal. You just have to have a little bit more knowledge, and you can take those courses. Okay, then you'll need a digital certificate and e-notary seal to apply to your electronic signature. That's an investment you'll have to make. Can't remember how much. I want to say it's like $60. Don't quote me on it. Something like that in that neighborhood. I would say between 50 and 100. Don't quote me on it. You will find out from your state. Okay. And then it says consider insurance and establish a strong relationship with an approved online notarization platform provider. Those will be the people that will provide you with the ability for you to be able to remote in to these meetings and to these sessions where you're going to need to do these notary things, because you can't just be like, yeah, okay, I'm just gonna pop in on like FaceTime and we're gonna do this. So you'll have to make a relationship with one of those online platform providers. Will that cost you? Probably so. But what you get in remote work is going to far out exceed what you're going to have to be paying. And so here are your duties and identities are responsibilities. So here's what I did. I just went to Google and I just typed in online Notary Public job. And so do that and then put your state in. If you're from like Arkansas, and then like it will tell you like this is what you need to do for a state of Arkansas. You can be like, oh, I live in Montana. And so you'll put like it'll tell you what you need to do. And so I would say go for it. Now, I actually online notary public job, and I had a little bit of information because I said I wanted to. Here it is. Now look how they actually have companies that will hire you as a contract position, or they'll bring you in, for whenever, and you'll have to negotiate for your rates. But as you saw, on average, if you're working this full time, it's different for different states. I've seen it as high as like in like Los Angeles is like over just over $100,000. So depending on your state and where you live, you can actually make some decent money. So I wanted to point that out to you. So there's a job for you that you can think about doing. I don't think that it takes a lot of time. You just have to buckle down and knuckle down and do it. And I don't think it takes a lot of money. So check your state and see what's required, add up your costs, and then start to put together a plan and just jump in and do it. And I believe as long as you're over the age of 18, you can do this. Now, the other thing that's good about this, or that you want to remember about this, is that you can only be an online notary in the state where you physically are. So, for example, when I was living in Chicago, right? Like Illinois or Indiana is like real close, real close. So I was always running across the board. Sometimes I ride my bike over to Indiana and I'd ride into Indiana. Now, conversely, sometimes if I want to do a really long bike ride, I would do it and I would just ride my bike up all the way up into Wisconsin. And I could do that too. And so, say if I want to be a notary public for Illinois and Wisconsin and Indiana, I have to become a notary public in each of those states, regardless of if I'm bike riding or if I'm doing online or not, or whatever. You can only be a notary in the state where you are physically at right at that moment. So if I am in Chicago and then my friends are like, hey, I'm in Indiana and I need a notary public, I have to go to Indiana and then I can be online, like at a Starbucks or whatever, and like use that platform, which will be probably some kind of encrypted secure channel where I can set up and do that. And so you have to make sure that you're aware of that. So, if you're always in your state and you're just going to do notary stuff in your state, that's fine. But if you live like real close, like I live close to 2 other states right now. So actually technically, so I'm in Virginia. I can go to DC, I can go to Maryland. If I really was just feeling kind of desperate, I can go to Delaware. And that's just like, I don't know, about maybe 3 hours, or I can go about 3 hours over to West Virginia. So I'm real close to like all of these different states, and I can hop over and I can just make myself available and just be like, okay, I'm just gonna pop over, especially if it's DC, because it's real close. So I can do something like that. And so that will help you maximize your potential. If you live like really close to another state line and you're like, okay, well, maybe I can maximize my time and set up my schedule where I can spend so much, I can set it up so I have clients on these days and this date, these days and this date. And so you can maximize your downtime and always have work. Okay, so that's one thing. And let's go to the next one. So if you are on SNAP, okay, so if you're doing that nutrition, well, I forget what SNAP stands for, supplemental nutrition and something and something. But SNAP, food stamps, right? And there's no shame in that. I have been on food stamps so many times in my life, and I know a lot of people around are in food stamps. I'm on food stamps right now. Like I can't meet every single requirement. Food is expensive. So, I mean, whatever you get, I live in a county that has wealth and they will give it to a lot of people. But okay, so there is education and training for SNAP recipients as well. So if you receive SNAP benefits, you can volunteer to participate in employment and training programs that can help you get back to school or guide you to a career path. I did not know this. So I'm like thinking I might look into, not even might, I'm going to look into this. So there are different programs. Now I just kind of looked up for the first state I could find. And this is the one I found, which was the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And so they'll tell you what it is that you can get. If you receive staff, you may be able to volunteer for these programs. And then they're saying, oh, it's called the Job Experience, Training, Experience Training and Support, JETS. And so JETS allows you to do all of these things. You can get the SNAP benefits, you can get and keep skilled employment, and that allows you to support yourself and your family. There's benefits. Once you get the training, they will even refer you to their counselors that will help you to then get a job in the field. So they're required to. And I looked up on the provider side, what is a provider required to do? So providers are going to be required to give you this training. If it's a certification, to then help you get that certification, and then to help you to get a job. And then they have to report back to the SNAP offices, because the SNAP offices is going to pay these people or pay these organizations rather to help you to get trained, get a job, et cetera, et cetera. It's going to cost them less in the long run to get you trained, get you a good job, get you off SNAP, and have you self-sufficient. So, yeah. So look, you can go to community college as well. So you can go and to one of their nonprofits that have offered to provide training, or it could be a community college that's offering this training. Okay, so you want to look at your state. Just go look up, if you're on SNAP, just go look it up. And what I did is, I believe I just looked up like SNAP training or something like that. Yeah, here it is. Training for SNAP recipients by state. And so once I did that, I just clicked on the first state that I came across. And the first state I came across was Pennsylvania. So if you are on SNAP, do not let yourself get dependent, because as you can see right now, they are sitting up there in the Senate talking about how they're going to cut all the social programs, and they're going to cut it by 50%, 70%, 75%. They're going to force work requirements on you, and your work requirements are going to be so limited that you're going to end up working at, like, say, Walmart or McDonald's or something. And then because you're working, they're going to say, oh, well, you don't need as much SNAP benefits. And they're going to cut your SNAP benefits, and you're going to end up still as poor and broke and hungry as when you were before you got on SNAP. So don't wait for the Senate and Congress to pass these bills and push yourself out by taking advantage of the training. Okay, so that's number 2. And I think I have another SNAP thing here too. Oh yeah, so one thing I did want to point out is that they will tell you also, like, so here's the location, but they will tell you what are the plans. Like here it is here, it says here, the SNAP Employment and Training State Plan. So if you can find on the website where the state plan is, and what I did is I clicked on the narrative link, and it took me to this. It took me to this, which was a huge document that just details like this. These are all the things that we're going to be doing. Here are advanced training opportunities. Like, look, you can get your commercial driver's license so that you could become, say, a truck driver. Union pathway. Some sites, participants connect with a pre-apprenticeship construction program. Doesn't it sound a lot like the Job Corps? So if you got kids, and a lot of the kids that were in Job Corps were kids that came from like poor families, right? They didn't want to go, they can't go to college, or they don't have an opportunity to go to college, or maybe they just don't want to go, or they're just like, they can't afford it or whatever. Some of these things will allow them to do this. Look, information technology pathways. So you can learn like about virtualization, cloud computing to prepare to take CompTIA 1001, 1002 exams. Now this is old because they're about to go to 1201, 1202. So this was like 5 or 6 years ago. But this budget is for 2025. So this is what they're going to give no matter what. Crew coach pathway. You receive specialized training to lead a work crew in the absence of a site supervisor. That pushes them up. You're not going to come in and you're starting at the bottom. You're actually going to get the training so you can come in higher. And it's, again, this is not just Job Corps people, it's regular people. So, if you're like saying, hey, you know what, I want to work like construction or whatever, but I don't want to come in, and then they're like, hold this nail, and you're like sitting out on the field or out on a construction site for 16 hours a day holding a nail. If you're like, hey, I want to lead that work crew, you can do that. Emerging Leaders Program, CEOs training pathways that will allow participants to enroll in the defined mentorship to track leading an unsubsidized job placement at CEO. They're going to train you to become upper level management, CEO on a board. That's great. So look at these. Like here's advanced training. Look, it says security information session, enrollment, graduating, and placement. Yeah. So I'm gonna tell you right now, please go into your state's SNAP assistance. And again, if you're not on SNAP, they're gonna know because you got to go to SNAP office and then they're gonna look up your information and then you can go in and apply. So like this one here for Pennsylvania is awesome. Like I mean, like I would definitely, especially you or your kids. If you or your kids are on SNAP, this is the way to go. Okay, let's move on. So credentialing programs by state. If you're like saying, hey, you know what? I'm not on SNAP, but I want to get some kind of credentialing of some sort. I want to get some kind of training for whatever. I just go again to the Google and I put in credentialing or training programs by state. And if you Google that, they talk about training programs that are offered. Some are offered at community colleges, vocational schools, online platforms. Some of them are free, and some of them are like, we'll reimburse you, and some of them are paid. So you have to go through all of these. And so the first one that pops up in my browser was this what's called fast forward programs, short-term training programs for high demand industries like healthcare, information technology, and skilled trades. So when I go to the fast forward programs, and I don't know why that came up like so, it should have brought me to the website. So when I go in here, it says training takes weeks, not years. And I can go in here and it's very similar to what the SNAP thing was, right? You can get training at a community college. There's credentials that are available, et cetera, et cetera. And so, so take a look at your, and this is just for Virginia. I don't know why this is not opening. Okay, here we go. Training at a community college. And so it says here, look, this is what you can do. Here's a great place to start. Tap or click at a location to see. Like, I'm trying to get to it. There we go. And so you can look for credentialing and you can say, okay, community college, I'll just look at Blue Ridge and I'll just start my search from there. And I'll just see what Blue Ridge has for courses and classes that I can take. Commercial driver's license and such and such and such and such. Now, what I know about this particular one for Fast Forward is that they will tell you to go in and you need to put down a certain amount of money. You take the course, and then when you get the certification and pass, they will reimburse you. And in some cases, they may pay you like a little extra like bonus money for passing and then help you to get a job in the field that you passed as well. And so as you can see here, like they have a whole bunch of resources here that you can work with, browse open jobs, fill out the forms. You just go in and look, here's in-demand jobs, electrical, HVAC, fiber optics, data center technicians. If you want to work in IT, that's what they're going to train you in. Virginia has a lot of data centers. And so this is definitely going to be something that they're going to be looking to push people into. And so that's what these credentialing programs are. So you want to look at these options that they have. Like, look, this grant provides low-cost opportunities for students to receive training and obtain industry-based certifications or state licenses. So when I click on that, like I see the Workforce Credential Grant, which I think you'll have to look through. Okay, so this is one that I saw, 2018. Okay, so it's called the New Economy Workforce Credential Grant Program. And so it looks like it's kind of old because it says 2016, 2017, 2018, but I know that it's actually current. It actually is current because I have heard of this program before in the state of Virginia. And I went through and I looked at this and I know that they are still accepting, or not still, but they are currently accepting providers to come in and provide the training. So you want to, again, go into a Google search and then type in credentialing training programs by state. I will put these little prompts, I call them prompts, but inputs or prompts into my description so that you can see what it was that I did, so that you can just replicate it. And then just type in, like, if you don't have to do by state. I just put by state to be specific. But again, let's just go back and put Arkansas, like what I did before. And I'll look for training programs and look at, they have very similar things that they have here for healthcare. And here are the certifications for IT. And here are the certifications for education. And here are the certifications. And one thing I have noticed, and I would not look at the Department of Education if it shows a job link for that. You're kicking that stuff back to the states. You know, we already know that they're going to abolish the Department of Education. So look for any state, if you want to be a teacher, look for any state program in these credentialing job program where they say, hey, you know, we can train you to become a teacher. We can help you to get your teacher credentials for the state so that you can now become a teacher. Okay, so you can do that and look for the state ones and click on that and then take the courses and get your certification. Sorry. Oh boy. Okay, so that's that one. Let's move on to the next one. It's state education websites. I just typed this in just to see if they have some kind of state education website for credentialing training programs. This is what I don't know why the last part didn't show it. So let me copy V. Okay, so if you do something like this and just say, look, I just want to look for again, I'm trying to dive a little deeper. I want to do a little bit of research, a little bit of time on the front end will give you valuable nuggets of opportunities for you on the back end. Okay, so for me, it says here, the Virginia Department of Education. I know that it's not part of the U.S. Department of Education. They're safe. I can look that up. Again, national, I would skip it. Just look for the ones in your state and look for any, it says here are some other resources that could be helpful for your search for credentialing. Now, I have this one here that I talked about. Grow with Google. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. Ed2Go. Ed2Go is kind of like edX. And I talked about edX in a video before. But let's, in like 2 or 3 videos, ones where I talk about, hey, you can get training for free. Ed2Go helps you to find training so that you can learn these skills that will help you to do better. So let me just go ahead and I'm not big on letting them put in cookies. Oh, reject all. I could have done that. Okay, so these are usually free. And as you can see here, Ed2Go, and I will put this in the link again, will allow you to take these courses. And you can choose, and look, because I'm in like IT, I'm just gonna choose, let's just go here, IT. So I'm gonna choose here and I'm gonna see what they've got. Oh, they have an AZ 104 Azure Administrator Training Bootcamp. Open enrollment 4 days. Oh, this one has a voucher included. Now, I wonder, though, if they're going to make you pay, because I do think that especially if there's a voucher included, sometimes they might make you pay. Sometimes they don't. Like, yeah, look, see this one, I'm not going to pay for that. edX, however, EDX, I believe .org, I can't remember offhand, they are free. They're not going to give you vouchers, but they're going to give you training. If you want to get a certificate, you can get a certificate. Okay, but look at those things, see if there's anything that's free. If there's anything that's free, jump for it. I do notice that a lot of them will also say that they have a military scholarship program, and then what they're going to do is try to get you to join the military. So if you see that and you're not for, like going to be in the military and go do, bogus parades, then I would skip the military scholarship stuff. If the military is where you want to go, that's cool. I have people in my immediate family who are in the military. God bless them. Okay. Now, SEIU. I have talked about the SEIU. That's a union. And if you are a member, the union will cover the cost of your college for these particular fields. If you are not a union member, you can still apply. Now, this is specifically for New York. Okay, so there will probably be some period where you have to go in to, to do the actual like classes and whatnot. Because what they're doing is they're looking for people who are wanting to go into like healthcare. So you can see, look, they're all in their scrubs and whatever. And I've talked about this before. And what they will do, because I did SEIU as well, they paid for me to do an IT training. I didn't have to pay for anything except I had like software computer programs that I paid for. So I think for the entire course or class, all the classes I took, I don't think I paid more than like $1,200. And I walked away with an associate's degree and graduated as, President Scholar and summa cum laude. So yeah, so you can go in and do this. And so what the SEIU will do is they will look, it says cover all tuition, training, books, materials, and administrative fees so you are able to focus on your educational goals rather than the financial burdens. Okay. If you are working a regular job already, they said, hey, you can be eligible for up to 2 days per week of paid release time to attend classes. So if you are working full time and you're like, hey, you know what? I want to go take these classes. They're going to be like, okay, we're going to, 2 days a week, we'll pay for you to be able to leave your job and go and do some training. And then once you finish those jobs, they'll give you job placement assistance and you'll be in the healthcare field, which will make you like very much in demand. And so the positions, just to kind of go through, and this is just the state of New York. There's anywhere where there's an SEIU, you can check and see if they're going to do these career pathways. I don't see the positions. Oh, here they are. LPNs, the certified pharmacy tech. And I know that they even have online pharmacy technicians right away these days. So if you can become a certified pharmacy tech and be able to do this online, awesome. Look how much you can get. You work online, you're gone. You're like, you can be independent and you can be out of here. You be out of here. Respiratory therapist, registered nurse, credentialed alcohol and substance abuse counselor, nurse practitioner, physician's assistant, master of social work, master's degree. They're willing to pay for your master's. Certified medical assistant, community health worker, licensed manual or mental health counselor, and patient care coordinator. So these are all the things that they're going to pay for. Now, this is specific to New York. If you don't live in New York, forget about it. But again, I don't live in New York. I was at my SEIU that was in my state, and I applied and I got in and I got my training. And so what you want to do is contact that SEIU, even if you're not in the SEIU. If they say what you can do is you can contact the SEIU in your area and then just say, look, I'm not part of the SEIU, but if you have a career pathways training program where maybe they're doing something with the state, can you help me to find out if the state is offering it for residents instead of going through, because I can't go through SEIU. And if they have the information, they can help you. Okay, if they have it, they can help you because that's what the state of New York does. Because this is through SEIU, but the state offers it through their community colleges. And that's why I think it would be good for you to contact SEIU. And I will again put that into my description. Let's go to the next one. Perscolas. Again, I will put this link in the chat, or not in the chat, in my description. But this is a nonprofit that has some online and some in school sessions. So sometimes they'll tell you that you have to come in and take the classes in person. Sometimes they're going to tell you it's an online class. And so you have to start by filling out this whole thing about jump starting your tech career, blah, blah, blah. And then once you do that, they're going to talk about like what they have for courses. Let me just go here to apply now. Now, hopefully they're not going to give me the stupid checklist thing. Ugh, they're going to give it to me. Okay, so I'll just put yes, 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 because they're not going to let us see. What challenges do I have? Financial constraints, tech industry, yeah, and I'll just put other. And let's just say that I don't know where to start. Okay. Hopefully they're not they're gonna make me go through all of this. Okay, so they have a whole lot. This is mostly not mostly, it's I would say about 95% IT. This is Perscolas. Once you fill out all the little questions that they're gonna have you do, then you're gonna go in and they're gonna say, these are the classes that we offer. They're online. Some classes are night classes, but the majority of them are training during the day. And they offer all kinds, like they have mainframe classes, they have classes for if you want to go into cloud, they have classes if you want to work for an on-premises, like maybe you want to work in some some companies' computer rooms, just anything of that kind. So Perscolas actually, like, they used to be able to let you just go right in and look at the classes, but now they make you fill out all this stuff. Let me see. Okay, so you can look down here. They have AWS Restart, cybersecurity, data center, end user desktop support. Somebody calls and says, I have a problem with my computer, and you are helping them to resolve that issue. It says there's flexible IT support. And so that means I think it means that if you are someone that's like, I can only work evenings, that if they can find an evening class, they will. It says future powered by Tech Systems courses. Tech Systems is a company that trains you on technology, and then they will tend to hire you to like work for them as a consultant. As you can see here, IT data center technician, IT support, Salesforce administrator. There's so many jobs for Salesforce right now. Software engineer, help desk agent, so many. So if you or your child, if they're like, you're saying you want to go in and or you want to learn IT, this could be the place for you to start. Look, able to commit to the instructor-led time commitments required for the course, typically Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 for full-time courses. So yeah. All of these things for the minimum qualifications you just need to meet. I will put that information in the chat. Or not in the chat, in my description. Now, this other one I was talking about, Grow with Google. So I have talked about this one before, and I will put it in here or in the description as always. But if Google has a lot of, here it is, Grow with Google. Blah. So if you're saying, hey, you know what, I want to learn project management, or I want to learn about cloud, et cetera, you can go to the Go Grow with Google, and they have a number of different certificates. Now, here's the thing. This is still through Coursera. So if you're going to do this through Coursera, you're either going to have to get a paid account, or like I said, when you're doing the Coursera, you do it like as an audit. So you will take it, but then when you get to the end, when it says we want you to test out, you can't test out because you don't have, like, you didn't pay for like the paid part of Coursera. So you can still go through and do a lot of the training, and still get the benefit out of it. And then maybe what you can do is, and this is what I suggested that you do all the training on your own and just like get it all done. And then they give you an opportunity to try it free for like 7 days. That could be the time when you go back in and says, okay, I'm going to go in and just bang that test out like right away. So do the entire course for free. And then like in the end, when you're like, okay, I'm going to do the 7 days free, then just do the 7 day free and pop that test out. Now, you can't just keep on then saying, nah, I don't want to do it, and then do another course and then say, I'll take another 7 days free. They're not going to let you do that. So it's like a one-time thing. And if you already have a Coursera thing, you've already done it, just get a new email account and just do the entire class. And then at the very end, turn back and or do the 7 days free and then take the tests. Okay. So that is an option for you. And as you, let's see, here are the courses. It says, learn new skills in 10 hours or less. Prompting essentials, agile essentials, AI essentials, generative AI for educators. There's a lot of courses that you can get here. I'm pretty sure project management was one of them. Project management is pretty hot right now. They're always going to need project managers. They're always going to need AI, I think. So, and generative AI for educators, I've seen jobs pop up where they're saying, can you teach generative AI? If so, we want to hire you for $100 per hour. You choose your time slots. And then you're going to be training like kids and teenagers and whatnot. So imagine if you're like, I'm going to work 5 hours a day. I'm going to do 5 one-on-one sessions a day. And so you're making $500 a day. You work 5 days a week. You're making $2,500 a week. You're making $10,000 a month. Now, will it be that consistent at first though? Because you probably have to build up your cred, because they'll probably like put you in a database with a whole bunch of other instructors. But if you're good, you can build up your base and get it so that you've got 5 clients a day. You could do it. So I'm going to say Grow with Google is going to be an option for you to choose for like what career certificates you want to do. Data analytics is hot. Cybersecurity is always hot. AI is hot. Project management is hot. UX design, I think, is being taken over by AI. I wouldn't do that. Business intelligence, always hot. IT automation with Python, hot, because if you can learn how to do that, then it makes it easier for you to go into the AI training, because AI training right now, nowadays, if you're working to code with AI, you just need to know how to start the code and then it will finish it for you. Okay. So that is an option. Grow with Google. AWS Educate, I've talked about this one before, but I'm going to talk about it again. So if you've never done AWS Educate, I like AWS because they give fantastic trainings. A lot of like, it's easy on the eyes, easy to understand. They break it down very well. And they sometimes will also have labs and sandboxes. So you don't have to pay a dime for that. You just have to sign into your AWS Educate. If you don't have an AWS Educate account, you need to create one. But once you create your AWS account and you sign in, then you're going to be able to see, look, they have 6 hours worth of labs. That's intermediate level though. So if you are at the very, very beginning and you want to go into IT, I'm telling you, IT is so hot right now because of AI, that if you want to stay keep your job longer. What you want to be able to do is learn how to master the AI so you can be working with the AI and controlling the AI so the AI doesn't control your job and take your job away from you. You want to stay in control. But yes, but anyway, so learning IT is good. So as I said here, like here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to skills and I'm going to be able to see all the skills. I would start with cloud computing. If you've never taken it before, start with cloud computing, and then it's going to give you all the cloud computing courses that you need to take. And as you can see, they're foundational, and you'll know that, okay, I got to get through all that. Yeah, so if you want a lab, that's great. Here's the other thing. If you want a badge where you can have an acknowledgement to put on your LinkedIn, that's also good because every time you pass one of these courses and you get the badge, you put it on your LinkedIn, that pushes up the the um the algorithms on LinkedIn. And if people are looking for someone that knows AWS, the more badges you put up, the more you're showing that you know this, the more notice that you're going to get on LinkedIn. So look, you can go by level, you can go by duration, you can go by language, and I would definitely put, I just want English language just to start off with. Definitely do that. And just start looking at these courses and seeing. Now, once you do that, they also have jobs searches, and there are some companies who work with AWS services that are like, hey, we are looking for somebody that knows how to work with databases. And so, if you feel real confident in your databases, then sure, yeah, you can say, I'll give it a stab. I'll try to go for that job. Now, as I said here before, in the past, they have offered free vouchers for you to take a certification exam, but they haven't offered, I don't see it now here, but I would keep my eye out on this emerging talent community because from time to time, they'll say free voucher. Now, this is a badge. This is just something that says you completed the training, badge. A certification means you get a voucher, you have to go in to a training center, or you can go online and do it, and they will check the room, and you have to keep everything clear. You can't work with any kind of like books or anything like that. Everything has to come straight from your mind, and they're going to test you on that, and you will pass or fail that certification exam. And if you pass, you get your certification. Okay, so that's what this is. That's what the voucher is. And so I would keep my eye on this emerging talent community because they'll sometimes just pop out a half price voucher or 100% off voucher sometimes. And they did that the last time when I told all of y'all about that. Okay, so I would look at AWS Educate as well because that's a great way for you to be able to get into learning about the cloud. Now, Oracle is another big one, and they're kind of like in the background. Like a lot of people aren't talking about Oracle, but Oracle is used by a lot of companies, and not everybody, like regular people, will look at Oracle and say, I'm going to go get Oracle certs. But here's the thing. Oracle has free training as well on their website. You can go to the oracle.com/education/training, blah, blah, blah. You want to start with the Oracle cloud infrastructure. No matter what, if you have not taken any cloud classes, you need to learn about each of the cloud platforms. For Oracle, if you're going to do Oracle Cloud, for AWS, if you're going to do AWS Cloud, for Google Cloud, if you're going to do Google, you need to learn the cloud. So they have free trainings. And what you're going to want to do is I go to Oracle MyLearn and go down here to the learning paths, or actually it's down here. And I will start with, where's my Oracle Cloud? The Oracle Cloud infrastructure. And that takes me to all of these different trainings, and start with the Oracle Foundations Associates. Start with these and work your way through. Look for the foundation trainings. They always offer foundation trainings for free. They always offer them for free. And the foundations courses are all unproctored, which means that you just take them on the honors code on your computer on your own time. You can take it, I think, like up to 70 times or something like that. By the time you like finish it up, you know, like even if you had to take it 4 or 5 times, you're like, okay, I'm gonna get that cert. So you can enroll in that path, and then you can start doing that. Oracle, I think, is something that people overlook a lot. And because not a lot of people have the Oracle certifications, when a job comes up where they're looking for Oracle solutions architects or Oracle architects or cloud architects for Oracle, they tend to be six-figure salaries because like nobody gets Oracle. And it's kind of nuts because it's free. A lot of the training is free or pretty cheap. And it would behoove you to learn some Oracle. It is not easy, but it's also not hard. So I would look into this and see how you can get, and remember, this is OCI, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. You want to start with the OCI and get your OCI certified first, and then start looking for anything. Like here it is, new to cloud, start here. Introduction to Oracle Cloud Essentials. And you want to take the training and then pass the assessment and then take the test and then get the certification. And this is one of the certifications that you actually get. You can download it, you put it on your LinkedIn, and then automatically you're like, okay, are you able to go in and get a solutions architect position with Oracle after that? No, you really need to put some time into it because there's a lot going into all these clouds, and Oracle's not the easiest. But again, not a lot of people take it, and they tend to pay a lot of money. All right, so we're getting close to the end. We're getting close to the end. I just brought this one up. I'm going to bring this one up. Holding public office. No, I'm not saying run for public office because you need a job. I'm saying that if you are saying to yourself, I want to do something, like this place is so messed up right now. And this country is so messed up right now. And I think that the only way to pull us out of this is to like at the grassroots level, we have to change from there. Whatever is going on is systematic. This man in the White House right now, he's not there because of anything other than the fact that something was happening behind the scenes that we just dropped the ball, we ignored, and they were working behind the scenes at the ground roots level, and they were putting people in at the local level and elections, like the elections boards and the school boards and the county boards and like city council, and they're doing all of that. And so by the time the administration comes in, and they've got the state, they've got, or not state, sorry, they've got the Senate, they've got they've got Congress, they have SCOTUS, and they've got the presidency. And then there's so much at the local level that they've got as well, because these people come in and they have just started at the state level. And it's now starting to like just push out. Like you're seeing what's going on at like school board meetings, and they're saying, oh, we're going to ban books. What books are they banning? Like, and you look at the books and it's like Animal Farm. What? Why are you banning Animal Farm? What? This is crazy. Like, these are books that we all have read. Like, why is it being banned? I don't understand. So if we want to make a change, we have to work at that grassroots level. And there's no time like the present to say, like, hey, you know what? 2026 is coming around the corner. There's going to be a lot of elections that are leading up. Next week, we have elections for something. Something. And I have to go and take a look and research and see. It's for who's going to represent, like, each of the parties for, like, the general election that's coming up in November. And so I am going to make sure that I get involved this weekend and research everything. And I do have like a pile of paperwork that, because they've been throwing stuff in through my door slot saying, vote for me, vote for me. So I now have like a whole bunch of stuff that I can look at as well. But getting in at the state level, I think is important. There is a salary of compensation in most states, and that's what I want to make sure I point out. If you're someone that wants to get involved with civics and with helping to protect a democracy and being involved with like the rules and helping with our community, at working at that local level, I think is important. Now, Harvard is offering classes on, I think, on edX as well. And they are offering a number of free classes on like US government and civics and maybe philosophy. I can't remember, but they're offering a number of classes. So here's how you can get involved. If you're like saying, I want to get involved, I want to work on a board, like, like the or city council or something like that. Why don't you go to edX? In fact, let's just do it right now. I'm so believing www.edx. I think it's edx.com or .org. Oh, let me look this up because I don't want to go to the wrong one and then edX. And in fact, let's do edX Harvard courses. Okay, so let's look at the edX Harvard courses. Okay, so Harvard University, there's online courses for Harvard. Now, look, they've got computer science, they've got programming with Python, they have introduction to AI with Python, rhetoric, the art of persuasive writing, and public speaking. That would be a good one if you're looking to go into government, or you're looking to go into these kinds of jobs. The American Government Constitutional Foundations. They have introduction to cybersecurity. Like, these are the things that I think are like in demand. Data science, government, being an articulate person, right? Machine learning, we the people, civic engagement in the Constitution. So they have here's U.S. public policy, social, economic, and foreign policies. All these are free. You can also say, hey, you know what? I'd like to take the course, like, and I want to get a certificate for it. You can pay, I think, like $150 or something like that, $165 and something like that. And then you can actually earn the certificate for this class. I'm going to just look this up and see. Okay, I can't see right now. Yeah, so I believe that if you wanted to do that, you could, but it's like somewhere between $150 to $165. So that will give you a certificate from Harvard. From Harvard. Okay. So this course is part of the US Government X Series program. Learn more. So when you go in here, 4 courses, 4 months, and if you want to earn the certificate for this, it's $536.40. So yeah, I mean, if you think about it, like if you're trying to pay that chunk up front, it's like, oh, that's a lot. But consider you're getting 4 courses from Harvard on US government that gives you a certificate that you can then say, you know what? I now have a certificate and I have verifiable knowledge about the US government and how it works. I'm going to do it. So I suggest that if you want to do this, this will be something you do. I will put this into the description as well. But let's just go back here. You want to work with the government or work at the local level, I'm going to suggest that you go for that. And then I found this one here, which is sheshouldrun.org/resources. So this is talked about guides, worksheets, quizzes, and other resources created to help you develop your leadership and navigate through your initial questions and concerns while considering running for office. So if you are saying, hey, I want to run for office, you need to make yourself ready, because it's not like you're going to be like, I'm going to run for office, and you go and you fill out some paperwork, and then you're like, I'm running. You really do need to have a plan and know what it's going to take. And then once you're at that point where you're like, I've done all of this research and I've taken these classes and I feel like I'm ready to run, you'll be more articulate. You can go in, you can get donors and try to grassroots donors. Please don't take any corporate money. Please don't. Try to keep it grassroots and build a campaign and talk to people and know how you can reach them. And especially because not everybody's going to agree with you with everything, but there's always going to be, no matter who you're talking to, there's always going to be some kind of common ground. And if you can find that common ground, you are going to come out ahead. You're going to come out a winner. Okay. So that's what I have for you for if you're saying to yourself, maybe if your kid was going to go to Job Corps and maybe the Job Corps is being threatened right now and you're thinking, what are we going to do? Or you can be like, hey, you know what? I want to get into doing something and I'm just sitting here stagnant and I don't know what to do to get a job. And I'm on public assistance and they're going to take away Section 8 housing. They're going to take away SNAP. They're going to take away XYZ. Okay. What can you do? Start thinking about these things now, because slowly over time, again, there's going to be a big gap that they're going to be opening up. That's what this bill is doing. It's opening up a gap between the haves and the have-nots. And when the haves get to the point where they have all the wealth and the have-nots have none of the wealth, we are really going to be screwed. So put yourself up so you can at least get to here. And then once you're like able to keep your head above water and you can, like keep, like getting oxygen, you'll be okay. Okay. So that is pretty much everything that I have for you for today. I'm going to stop that sharing. It's a lot. And I always say, oh, I'm only going to do like 20 minutes or 30 minutes. And I'm pretty sure this is going on like an hour. But I think this is important. And I wanted to make sure that I put everything in here so that you got that time to see like how I got to this page. And I'm not just like pop, 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 pop. And then you've got to take all this effort to go and figure it out. And then you're like, you know what? I can't recreate this. And then you're gone. I want you to be able to look at what I'm doing, pause the video, look for it for yourself, click on the links I give you, and start figuring this stuff out quickly, because these executive orders are coming down faster. They're coming down fast because nobody is stopping the administration from doing things that are unlawful, things that are appropriated already, that are set aside money that's already set aside by Congress is being ripped back, ripped away, and being replaced with executive orders that's taking money from us, from our pockets, the little bit that we have, that we scrape together and we hold on to, and it's being given to the rich people. Okay, so on that note, I'm going to end this and I'm going to give you something to think about. I mean, I'm giving you this to think about. Again, my name is Koffee Brown. This channel is Koffee Spills the Tea. It's Friday the 13th. It's going to be in the evening when you get this. Take the time to go through this video again. Take the time to go through these links. Please like this video. Please subscribe to this video. Blast this video out to your friends and to your family and say, hey, you know what? We need to start thinking about getting serious. Because, things are coming down fast and furious here. And I think whatever's happening now, that if we think it's bad, In a year, and we've got 3.5 more years. In a year, things are going to be dire. When this bill passes, and it will pass, it's going to go from bad to worse. It's going to be dire. Do not wait until it's dire and everyone's desperate and you're having to claw and fight against all these desperate people. Do not wait for that. Do it now. Okay, so please like. I'm sorry to sound so doomsday-ish, but I hope you have a great day, great evening, great weekend. Stay safe. Again, please like, please subscribe, hit the subscribe button. Every time I upload, hit the notification bell. Every time I upload, then you will get a notification. And if you have some idea, if you're like, hey, what about this? What about this? Put it into the messages down there below, and I'll take a look and see if I can help. Or if you have some ideas, or if you know of a program that's out there that I haven't mentioned, please share. Share down in the chat so that we can all learn. All right. Bye.